And then there's our Safe Art and our Safe Circus Act. And this would be a branch or division by the U.S. Center for Safe Sport. You know, dance is very familiar with the center. Breaking for gold, you know, went to one Olympics and is now under the jurisdiction of the center. But we also know that private dance studios here in America that have breaking programs are not necessarily covered under the center. As a survivor of USA Gymnastics, our case has led to the creation of the center about 8 or 9 years ago, and so I've been working with legislators on amending policy to safe sport for these last several years. We just introduced Safe First Sport, so we've been increasing and expanding the jurisdiction of the center. I think that we need to do it for the arts, so that we can free these spaces, like we did with sport, of emotional, physical, and sexual.
The surveillance of injuries for research in Circus Working Group, the SIRC Group. And this group has the aim to develop international consensus and extension guidelines and other collaborative efforts to improve circus arts research, healthcare and training practices.
So what we also see some first signs, but again, not really robust risk factors analysis. So bear this in mind. First steps that we are taking currently is that mental health problems in pre-professional and in professional circus artists may be related to age, to gender, the professional status, whether you are an amateur or whether or not you are competing as an elite circus artist. Coping resources, the stressful environments that you might deal with on a daily basis, whether or not you are injured, that also is affecting your mental health, and what kinds of circus discipline you are involved in.
So how do concussions happen in circus? So the most obvious way is falls. We have aerialists at great heights and other acrobats. So falling, whether onto the ground, on a stage, onto a mat. We also have more of our ground acrobatics, where you might see someone who's a flyer like Shanae in a hand-to-hand act, or in banquine where you're getting tossed into the air and a flyer landing from that. But we also have direct contacts. We're not a contact sport, but we have collisions in choreography on stage, in acts like hoop diving, where you might have people going in opposite directions. We also have a lot of hard objects that were around. So, you know, I've heard a few times of steer wheels rolling into people's heads, or people hitting a head on a trapeze bar, things like that. And then maybe a little less obvious indirect mechanisms. So our aerialists sometimes do drops, and they'll be often caught by a wrap around their pelvis or their thigh, which stops the motion after, you know, a drop from anywhere from a few to several feet. And if they don't have good head and neck control, that might result in a whiplash type mechanism and a